Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of It's Not All Rainbows. I'm your host, Lindsay Goodman. I'm a certified trauma recovery coach, and I'm also a survivor of abuse in a queer relationship. I'm here to help you figure out what's really going on in your relationship to help get you out and on the road to recovery. Today, I'm going to talk to you about monkey branching. I know it's a silly word. I actually really love the way that whoever started studying narcissistic abuse or coercive control, which is the term that I like to use instead of narcissistic abuse. But there's all these terms that are kind of funny and they make it really easy to understand because it's like, well, that makes sense. Like flying monkeys, Wizard of Oz, flying monkeys, they're doing the work of the wicked, wicked witch. It makes sense. I love these terms. Some people think they're silly, but monkey branching to me, it makes sense. There's this visual of a monkey on a branch and what the monkey's doing. We're going to talk about it. I haven't even said what it is yet. It's essentially when an abusive person lines someone else up before you're even out of the picture. So before we talk about that, let's do our my struggles and successes. My struggle today is going to be a silly one because as you can see, if you've been watching this, maybe you don't pay attention. I'm doing my third episode today just because I have time. And I had planned, I was like, okay, this weekend I'm gonna do like an episode a day, kind of try to get ahead because usually I try to get ahead so that I don't get behind, simply put. Um, and I picked up some work this weekend, so I don't really have any more time. So today, this is my time. I'm waiting for my friend to arrive, and I'm just gonna try to get this out for you because it's important. I have my list of things I want to talk about. We're gonna get it done. So yeah, I'm sitting here in the same shirt I've been wearing episode 3. I don't wear the same thing every day, but I am wearing it today. But my struggle today is kind of silly. Is I have a lot of books that I want to read, and if you are a book lover, it's one of your hobbies, you know what I'm talking about. I have like curated, and I don't even own that many books, but I've just like curated like the books that I want, and they're all history books. And some of them are like the history of like other countries that I've been to, and I want to know more about those countries. And I'm sitting here looking at them, and I'm like, man, I just really don't have that much time to read. So I'm just like, I want to but then I also want to enjoy the books that I am reading, like in the moment. I don't want to just check books off the list. So anyway, that's kind of a silly struggle. If you're a book lover like me, you're like, yeah, I get it. Just kind of trying to relate to you guys in more than one way. I don't want abuse to be the only thing that you know about me. So that's my struggle for today. A success is that like my Spanish is going really well. My Spanish is really good. I'm feeling good about it. I've been speaking it my whole life, but my whole life it's been like ebbs and flows, and what I've noticed is a lot of times when I'm in a relationship it ebbs, and when I'm single it flows because I seek out more Spanish, I listen to more Spanish stuff, I listen to Spanish podcasts, I speak Spanish more with my friends, I visit my friends, all of that stuff, so it flows. And I also have been taking a Spanish class, like a super advanced Spanish class, to just like have a higher level of vocabulary. And I wish that I had more time to like every week I get like homework and I do the homework and I can see myself getting progressively better. And like my instructor's like, oh my gosh, compare this to when we first started. Like you've come so far. I'm like, yay. But it's really hard, I think, like when you are at like a higher level to feel like you're getting better because like when you first start, you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm doing complete sentences. Oh my gosh, now I can have basic conversations with people. But I'm like, I've been doing all this stuff. Like, is my vocabulary getting better? Am I using more advanced words? And so, but I am, and and people are pointing it out to me. So I'm very excited about that because it's something that I really, really love. Like it's an ability that I've always had and loved having and wish I would have done more with when I was younger and wish I wouldn't have been distracted by people when I was in relationships and like kind of swept it to the side. I wish I would have just been like, just so you know, I speak Spanish a lot. I'm going to keep doing that. Like, don't get in my way of anything. If you want to be with me, like, you got to give me space to be me. But over and over in my life, ebbs and flows, no more. So, anyway, two random things. I really wish when I was doing this that I could ask you, like, in real time what your struggles and successes are. Because it can be kind of weird being on this end and being the only person talking and like not knowing where y'all are at. Like, what are your struggles and successes? I guess I can put up a poll on Spotify and see if any of you respond to that. Anyway, monkey branching, again, a silly word, not such a silly thing. It's very yucky. And, a lot of people do stuff like this. I know a lot of people are afraid to be alone. So they're not going to leave a relationship until they meet someone. And that's a really yucky thing to do. I have done that, I think just once. I can't think of any other time that I did that. I'm trying to because I don't want to lie. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but I did that one time. It's not a good idea. But it wasn't because I wanted to. It was just like someone came along and they were like, I'm gonna date you. It was literally my abuser. And then I was like, okay. And then we were together. But never in my life have I been like, I'm bored in this relationship. I'm gonna look for someone else, and once that person's lined up, then I'll leave. I've never done that. A lot of people do that. They're not necessarily abusive. They just don't want to be alone. They don't know how to be alone. They're scared to be alone. Maybe they're like, well, I can't afford to live alone, so I have to wait till someone comes along that I can go and live with, whatever. It's not healthy. It's not good. It's not great. Doesn't mean you're abusive. It just means like you're probably hurting and like in a bad place and don't know what else to do. And you want to get out of this. It's very hard. It's very hard. Breaking up is hard no matter what. However, with abusive people, they might know that you don't want to be there anymore. They might know they feel like you're on your way out. You're not putting up with their crap anymore. You're seeing through the thin veneer that they've been trying to keep up for a while. And so they're going to tap back in. And if you are new here, I did an episode, it's probably like 2 years ago now, called like I think it's called like the narcissist supply chain or supply closet or something like that. And I talk about how often they will keep people on that shelf. And I know it sounds yucky to talk about people as supply. Like these are people, like the people who came before me, myself, the people who came after me, they're people. And they did nothing wrong but be in the wrong place at the wrong time that my abuser saw them as a target and got to them, right? Your abuser and whoever. They're people. We're people. But to them, you're not. You're just something that they can take out when they need to and use you for whatever purpose and put you back, right? Well, I don't know. Maybe a narcissist or person that is abusive would argue and say, no, I do view them as people, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm not you. I'm just saying this is how it seems by the way you treat us. Um, but I did this whole thing about how, this person from their past, they kind of will reach out every once in a while, keep them on the shelf, check in, see if that this person's like still a viable option. Um, Maybe they're reaching out trying to get to know someone else, see if that person's a viable option. They're doing all of that stuff. So if you want to know more about that pantry that they have, check out that episode. Again, it's like maybe summer of 22, not 100% sure. Summer of 2022, I think. So scroll back a ways and find that supply shelf closet episode. But today I want to specifically talk about monkey branching. And again, it's like if you just picture like there's a monkey on the edge of the branch and there's a monkey here and this is the abuser and you're here. They're just kind of edging over on the branch to get closer to that other monkey. And they're like, are you a viable monkey? Are you somebody that maybe I could rope in and abuse after I make you fall for this idea that I am perfect and like I'm gonna put you on a pedestal and I'm gonna love bomb you and do all this stuff? Like, are you gonna fall for that, you little monkey? It's not your fault if you fell for it. I did too. It's there's a lot of reasons why we fall for it. I could talk about those reasons all day, but I won't. Maybe that's another episode. But anyway, so they're creeping over on that branch and they're lining someone up. And sometimes it's more than one person. Sometimes it's a tree full of monkeys and they're like, that person looks like they're not very happy with their partner. I think I could get in with that one. I'm gonna start flirting with them in public in front of everyone, just to, like test if they're willing or not. That person from my old job, I remember we talked a little bit. I'm gonna send them an email and be like, hey, how are you? I was thinking about you, blah, blah, blah. They're just like reaching out, they're putting their feelers out, trying to see if there's anybody who has an open door for them. And again, you're still in the picture. You're still living with them. You're still in a committed relationship. I'm doing quotes if you can't see me because it's not a committed relationship. It's a jail, it's a prison sentence. It's a abuser abusee thing happening. It's not a relationship. You are not getting what you are meant to get out of a relationship with them. But anyway, you're still in the picture. But again, maybe they're bored with you. Maybe you're not giving them enough of what they want to get out of you. Maybe you're not arguing with them anymore because you're like, I'm done with it. I can't do it anymore. And they're like, well, I need someone who's eventually going to argue with me because I like arguing. I get something out of this. Or maybe, again, you saw them for who they are and you're not falling for it anymore. Maybe they see you looking at apartments or they see you trying to find your way out and they're like, crap, if this person goes and I don't have someone lined up, I'm screwed. I don't want to be alone. I need to have some power. Like if you look at the pattern of an abusive person, if you think about it, they've never been alone. They have never been alone. And again, I know there's lots of serial daters in this world for different reasons. We just talked about it. Some people don't know how to be alone. We're not taught to be alone. We're not taught to value our own company. We're not taught that solitude is a beautiful thing, and the ability to sit with yourself and just be like, oh, this is nice. I like this. I really don't need anyone else in my space. And that's not because you're a reclusive. It's because you like it. Someone can come in my space and that's great and that's a bonus, but I don't have to have someone in my space. I don't have to put a warm body there just because I don't want to be alone, right? That's a beautiful thing. But society does not tell us that. Society says your worth comes from having a partner. So again, lots of people who are going to jump from relationship to relationship, but with an abusive person, if you look at their history, ask yourself, your partner that you have they ever been alone? Have they ever been alone? No. How many times have they cheated on people? Because they probably tell you the truth. Mine would say, oh, I cheated on this person and they knew, and I would get phone calls and we would be cooking in the kitchen and I would go outside and talk to this other person and my wife would just be like, oh, like sad when I would come back in. Like she knew what was going on and like it was kind of our agreement because I didn't really give her another choice. But like that's what we were doing. Like you cheated on her for whatever reason and like but they tell you, but then they'll also be like, yeah, I don't ever want to do that to another person again. Like I just was like I just wasn't happy in that marriage. Like they'll give you some dumb excuse to make you feel like that's like a one-time thing or they didn't do that to anybody else or whatever, but like they did. you know they have a pattern, they have a history, and like I said, you're never going to probably know it all. They're not going to tell you all the things that they've done to people. They're not going to tell you the truth. And if they tell you something bad happened, like, oh, we had a physical altercation, but it's going to be the other person's fault. They're not going to ever tell you that they instigated it or they drove that person to madness and it was reactive abuse, which I don't like that word, but the person was reacting to, meticulously without a break, being tortured over and over. And by torture, I mean mental, physical. Sometimes it's physical, mental, emotional, all the things, financial. You're at your breaking point, right? But they're not going to tell you that. They're just, oh, she went crazy. Oh, she had a hard childhood. So, like, she was unstable. She was whatever, right? But they're going to tell you. So, that that person has never taken time to be alone and to heal and to recover from past relationships. Like, those past relationships aren't even it's like, okay, that didn't work next. Okay, that didn't work next. Okay, that didn't work next. They're monkey branching. And so, you might not even be aware that it's happening while you're with them because they can be pretty sly. They can hide things. They can change their password, whatever, if like they're afraid you're gonna go through their stuff. They can lie, like if you do catch them. I remember catching my abuser monkey branching and I asked, and at that time I was like really fed up and I saw it for what it was, and I was like, you Googled your compatibility with the girl at the gym, like your Enneagram. You asked what her Enneagram was and you Googled their compatibility. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, blah, blah, blah. But then when they started talking to the new girl, it was, I Googled our compatibility on the Enneagram while I was still with Lindsay. Like, it's all a part of everything. It's a part of the game and they're doing it. If you catch them doing it, again, they're going to lie to you. They're going to have some reason. They're not going to be like, yeah, I'm lining someone else up because I think you're going to leave me. I don't want to pay my rent by myself. I don't want to live alone. I need a new couch or a new bed to sleep in. I'm not going to be left here by myself. I'm not going to allow this. So, yeah, I'm absolutely lining someone up. They're not going to tell you that, right? They're going to tell you you're crazy. It's all in your head. Didn't mean anything. Blah, blah, blah. Again, you might not know what's happening. You might see it happening. So, if you do see it happening, my point is see it happening. Know what it is. Don't get jealous. Don't get insecure. I know you're going to anyway because you've been abused. You are being abused. So you're going to feel like crap. You're going to feel again like it's your fault. I talked about this last week. It's your fault. You weren't good enough, blah, blah, blah. Try to control those feelings. You can feel them later when you get out and you want to feel your feelings of rage and like pain for yourself and the fact that you spent so much time with a person who doesn't care about you. Remember, it's not about you, it's them. And this isn't me being like everything is their fault and like we don't have anything to do with it. I will never say anything that puts the blame on the victims of abuse, the victims and survivors of abuse ever. The only thing that is true is that all of us have pain and trauma, and a lot of times it's a certain kind of pain and trauma that allows these people to come into our lives and take over. And that is not your fault. You didn't ask for that. You didn't ask for the things that happened to you throughout your life. So when I say that, again, I'm not going to sit here and be like everything is their fault. However, because there's that one little thing that is a part of the equation within us, but we didn't ask for that. So this is not a victim shaming, whatever. Yes, there is something that we need to work on when we get out, right? and we need to, I kind of like skipped a couple steps to get to this thing, whatever. I guess I was just trying to say that I don't want anyone listening to be like, wow, she's like not taking any accountability, or like she's basically making me feel like I don't have to take any accountability. Take the accountability for what, what you came in there with, but also knowing that it's not your fault. Like you were like, I want to be abused when I'm a child or neglected when I'm a child, and have this ex-partner who was horrible to me and kind of like made me have a hard time with relationships. And I did that. No, you didn't. You didn't. So I think that's really important to remember. We can go out in the world and we can heal and we can make sure this doesn't happen again, and also know that literally the person to blame is the abuser, the person who's choosing to abuse people over and over and over again for like essentially their entire lives. So anyway, that's monkey branching. I guess I don't really have anything else to say. It's a funny little label for a behavior that is yucky and something that we see people doing over and over and over again. Um, they're literally just looking to have someone or someone else to put on that shelf to have ready to pull down. Should you finally get away from them after all your many tries to get away that they prevented you from getting away from, you get away, they've got someone else ready within hours, days, weeks, whatever, not weeks, usually it's pretty quick. And just again, I'm not going to tell you how to feel. You are allowed to feel mad, sad. You're allowed to miss them. You're allowed to all those things. But just know, again, I said this last week, you don't want this. And keep that in mind as you're going through this. Feel everything you need to feel, but just remind yourself, you do not want this life. You do not deserve this life. You deserve better. Yes. I am here to work with you if you're listening to this and you're like, I need help with this. I'm really struggling. I feel like crap. I feel like it's my fault. Whatever it is, I am coaching again. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I took a break from it. I am back. If you want to work with me, you can find me at calendly.com/Lindsay Goodman. Well, you can find my availability there. You can also follow me on social media. It's Lindsay Goodman Coaching. I'm the Lindsay Goodman elsewhere if you just want to watch like my life where I don't talk about abuse and kind of like see who I am as a person. Although, I don't post quite as much as I used to. I'm just kind of like trying to be present in the moment and things like that. But I'm there. If you want more from me, you can find everything there. I appreciate you being on this journey with me, and hope this helps. That's all for now. Please take care of yourself. Go do something nice. Go drink some water, and I'll be back next week with more.